Life has a way of humbling you. You can be on top of the world one moment, thinking you have got it all figured out, and in the blink of an eye, everything can come crashing down. It might be a relationship ending, losing a job, facing betrayal, or even just waking up one day realizing you have wasted years in the wrong place. That kind of break doesn't feel like a lesson while it's happening. It feels like destruction. But that destruction is the setup for your construction. When life breaks you, it isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's redirection. The old version of you couldn't carry the weight of the life you were destined for, so the break was necessary. Think about it. If a building has weak walls, you don't just paint over them. You tear them down and rebuild. Life does the same thing with us. It will shake us, strip us, and sometimes leave us in ruins, but the ruins are fertile ground for a stronger foundation. In those moments of breaking, it's easy to believe you are being abandoned. You look around and ask, why me? Why now? But the truth is, every great rebuild starts with rubble. You don't build a masterpiece on untouched land. You build it where something once stood and crumbled. That break you are experiencing is proof that you are not finished. You are in transition. People often confuse breaking with failure, but failure is when you stop. Breaking is when you are being prepared for something higher. The pain that feels unbearable right now will become the very strength you lean on later. The tears you cry today water the soil for the life you are about to build. Breaking isn't the end, it's the beginning of a rebuilding season. You can't get stronger without resistance. You can't grow without being stretched. That heartbreak you are carrying, that's resistance training for your spirit. That financial struggle you are in, that's your muscles being tested. So when you rise again, you rise sharper, wiser, and tougher. The break hurts, but it builds capacity for a life you never imagined you could handle. Every scar tells a story. Every loss leaves wisdom behind. Every break cracks open something inside you that was too comfortable. Comfort zones don't build warriors. Breaking does. When you get broken, life is pulling you out of comfort and into strength. It may feel unfair, but one day you will look back and realize it was the best thing that could have happened for your growth. So instead of resisting the break, embrace it. Don't waste your energy fighting the season you are in. Let it do its work. Let it strip away the weakness, the ego, the fear, and the distractions. Because after the breaking comes the building, and that building is going to stand taller, stronger, and more unshakable than anything that stood before. It's easy to sit back and hope that somebody will come along and fix the pieces of your life. You start believing that maybe a friend, a partner, a mentor, or even luck will show up and carry you out of the pit you are in. But that mindset will keep you stuck forever. The hard truth is no one is obligated to pull you out. No one is required to clean up your mess. And no one is coming to magically hand you the life you dream about. If you want a new beginning, you have to be the one who fights for it. When you wait for someone else to save you, you hand them control over your future. You give away your power. You put your life on pause, hoping that the right person or opportunity will come along to press play again. But years can pass that way and you will still be sitting in the same spot, wishing for change. That's why rebuilding starts with a decision, the decision to stop waiting and start moving. Even if you have no clue what the next step looks like, think about it. Nobody else can truly know the weight of your pain, your disappointments, your setbacks. They might sympathize. They might even help temporarily, but they can't live your life for you. They can't carry your bricks every single day. At some point, you have got to realize the responsibility of rebuilding falls on your shoulders. If you want to see a new chapter, you have to start writing it yourself. Too many people sit in ruins expecting a rescue team to appear. They believe a miracle is coming in the form of another human being who will make everything right. But that mindset is dangerous because it makes you passive. You can't wait for rescue when you have the power to rebuild right now. Even if your hands are bleeding, even if you are tired, even if you are alone, you have got to start stacking bricks with whatever strength you have left. Waiting for others also keeps you stuck in blame. You start telling yourself, I can't move forward until they help me. I can't succeed until they believe in me. That's a trap. Because as long as you hold on to that story, you will keep giving excuses for why you are not where you want to be. Blame builds walls around your ruins, but accountability tears them down. Once you say, it's on me, you unlock the freedom to rebuild. Even if somebody wanted to save you, what happens the next time life knocks you down? Will you keep waiting for another rescue? That cycle never ends. True rebuilding happens when you learn how to rise on your own. That doesn't mean you won't accept help along the way, but it means you won't depend on it. You will know that whether people come through or not, you will find a way to keep building. The day you stop waiting for someone else to save you is the day your life changes. That's when you shift from being a victim of your circumstances to being the architect of your future. It's when you stop begging for a rescue and start creating a plan. And brick by brick, day by day, you begin to see the life you have been praying for take shape, not because someone saved you, but because you saved yourself by refusing to stay stuck. Pain is one of those things we all try to avoid, but no matter how careful you are, life is going to put you face to face with it. It might be the pain of losing someone you love, the pain of being rejected, or the pain of working hard for something that falls apart. Most people run from pain, numb it, or pretend it doesn't exist. But what they don't realize is that pain carries lessons that comfort never will. Pain speaks in a language that only struggle can teach. And if you are willing to listen, it will shape you into someone stronger than you ever imagined. When you treat pain like an enemy, you miss its message. That heartbreak you went through wasn't just to break you. It was to show you who's real, what you deserve, and how much strength you have got left inside. That failure you faced wasn't the end of your story. It was a teacher showing you what doesn't work so you can try again smarter. The sting hurts, yes, but in that sting lies clarity. Pain strips away illusions and forces you to face reality head on. There's no growth without discomfort. Think about working out. Your muscles literally tear to rebuild stronger. The soreness is proof that growth is happening. Life works the same way. The situations that stretch you, the ones that leave you aching inside, are the same situations that are building a new version of you. Without the pain, you'd stay the same. Without the pain, you'd never tap into your true capacity. Pain also exposes the truth about the people around you. When you are at your lowest, you start to see who's really for you and who's only around for convenience. That lesson alone is priceless. The people who stand by you in pain are the ones who deserve to celebrate with you in success. Everyone else is just noise. Sometimes pain clears your circle in ways you never could on your own. The problem is we often get so caught up in resenting the pain that we overlook the wisdom it brings. Instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift in mindset turns suffering into strategy. Suddenly the setback is no longer wasted. The rejection becomes redirection. The failure becomes feedback. Pain becomes the professor that pushes you into the next level of your life. Accepting pain as a teacher doesn't mean you enjoy it. It doesn't mean you smile while your heart is breaking. It means you recognize that every moment of struggle carries a seed of growth inside it. It means you stop seeing pain as a punishment and start seeing it as preparation. It means you lean into the lesson instead of trying to skip the process. The truth is, the strongest, wisest, and most resilient people you know didn't get there by living painless lives. They got there because they faced pain, they learned from it, and they allowed it to mold them. If you want to rebuild yourself into someone unshakable, you have got to be willing to let pain do its work, not as your enemy, but as your greatest teacher. There comes a time when the weight of life gets so heavy that you crack under the pressure. You break down, you lose control, and you find yourself in pieces. And when that happens, the first instinct is often shame. You look at yourself and think, I should have been stronger. I shouldn't have let this happen. But carrying shame on top of brokenness is like adding bricks to an already shattered wall. Falling apart doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. So many people can't rebuild because they are still punishing themselves for breaking down. They replay the mistakes over and over, beating themselves up for not knowing better. But how could you know better before you lived through it? Every lesson you have gained came from moments you didn't handle perfectly. You can't rebuild if your hands are full of regret. Forgiving yourself is the first step to freeing those hands so you can start stacking bricks again. Forgiving yourself doesn't erase what happened, but it releases the grip it has on you. You can't change the decision you made back then. You can't undo the words you said, the chances you missed, or the opportunities you let slip. But you can stop letting those things hold you hostage. Forgiveness is not about pretending the fall didn't happen. It's about acknowledging it, learning from it, and choosing to move forward anyway. Sometimes we hold ourselves to impossible standards. We expect perfection. We expect to handle every challenge with grace and strength. But no one walks through life without stumbling. No one makes it without moments of doubt, fear, or collapse. The very people you admire, the ones you look at as strong, all have moments they had to forgive themselves for. They just didn't stay in self-condemnation. They rebuilt. When you refuse to forgive yourself, you become your own enemy. Every time you try to move forward, your inner voice drags you back to the past. It whispers, "You are not worthy. Remember what you did. Remember how you failed." That voice will tear down everything you try to build unless you silence it with forgiveness. Forgiveness is how you take back your power from the mistakes that once controlled you. Falling apart isn't the end of your story. It's just a chapter. Think about a broken bone. When it heals, that spot becomes even stronger than before. Your breakdown is the same. Once you forgive yourself and allow healing to happen, that weak spot becomes your greatest source of strength. But healing can't begin until you stop blaming yourself for breaking in the first place. Forgiveness is the doorway to rebuilding. You can't step into your future while chaining yourself to your past. The bricks of your new life won't stand on a foundation of guilt and shame. They will only stand on a foundation of grace. Grace that you must be willing to give yourself. That's how you rise from falling apart and start building again. Not as the person who broke, but as the person who learned, grew, and kept going. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to rebuild their lives is starting with the decorations. They focus on how things look instead of how things are built. They want to post success on social media. They want the image of stability. They want people to believe they have got it all together. But behind closed doors, the foundation is still cracked. You can't decorate ruins and call it a rebuild. You have got to start from the ground up where no one can see, where the real work happens. A strong life doesn't begin with the spotlight. It begins in the shadows. It begins with building habits no one claps for, making decisions no one notices, and choosing discipline over comfort when no one's watching. That's the ground level. Without that ground level work, everything you try to build will collapse under the first storm. If the foundation isn't solid, the structure can't survive. You have to ask yourself, what's under my life right now? Is it built on excuses, fear, and inconsistency, or is it built on discipline, faith, and resilience? Because the ground will tell you the truth long before the walls rise. If your ground is weak, no matter how beautiful the outside looks, life will expose the cracks. That's why rebuilding has to begin with tearing down the weak foundation and starting fresh with something strong. The ground up means working on your mindset before chasing money. It means building your character before chasing status. It means creating discipline before chasing comfort. Too many people want the roof before they have laid the bricks. They want the rewards without the responsibility. But if you want something that lasts, you have got to be willing to put in the time and effort at the bottom where no one else sees progress yet. This process isn't glamorous. It's lonely. It's frustrating. You will wonder if it's even working. But that's how real rebuilding feels in the early stages. Think about construction sites, and they look messy before they look magnificent. Dirt everywhere, noise everywhere, broken ground. But without that chaos, no structure could ever rise. Don't despise the dirt and the mess. That's proof the ground is being prepared. When you build from the top down, you skip the part that matters most. That's why so many people collapse after a little success. They didn't do the groundwork. But when you build from the ground up, you may rise slower, but you rise stronger. Every brick is set with patience. Every layer is reinforced with intention. And when the storms come, you are not worried about falling because you know your ground can handle it. Ground up rebuilding is about patience, discipline, and authenticity. It's about knowing that the unseen work matters more than the seen. It's about refusing to rush into appearances and choosing to strengthen what lies beneath. Because if the ground can hold it, the structure will rise. And when it rises, it won't just stand, it will last. When you are in the middle of rebuilding your life, the people around you matter more than you think. You might believe you can do it all on your own, but the truth is your environment shapes your progress. If you keep company with people who doubt you, mock you, or secretly want you to fail, they will chip away at the bricks you are laying. Builders lift you, destroyers tear you down. It's as simple as that. Look closely at your circle. Do the people you talk to daily inspire you to keep going, or do they drain your energy with negativity and gossip? Builders speak life into your vision, even when it's just a sketch on paper. Destroyers will tell you to quit before you have even begun. Builders remind you of your strength. Destroyers magnify your weaknesses. The wrong circle will sabotage your rebuild before you even get off the ground. Sometimes it's not obvious who the destroyers are because they wear the mask of friendship. They laugh with you, but deep down they don't want to see you rise higher than them. They will discourage you subtly, planting seeds of doubt every time you share your dreams. That's why discernment is crucial. You have got to know who's really lifting you and who's holding you back with invisible chains. Surrounding yourself with builders doesn't mean people who agree with everything you say. It means people who challenge you to grow, people who hold you accountable, people who won't let you settle for mediocrity. A real builder will tell you the truth even if it stings, because they want to see you stronger, not weaker. They don't just clap for you when you win. They roll up their sleeves and help you lay bricks when you are tired. Rebuilding is already hard enough without voices pulling you in the wrong direction. Every negative word, every discouraging comment, every seed of doubt can slow your progress. That's why you have to protect your space like it's sacred ground. Because it is. What you are building is too important to let destroyers come in and tear it down while you are not looking. And let's be honest, sometimes the destroyer is someone you love. That's the hardest part. Realizing that not everyone close to you is meant to walk with you into your rebuild. Some people are chapters, not lifetimes. Letting them go doesn't mean you hate them. It means you have chosen to protect what you are building. It means you refuse to let anyone compromise the foundation you have worked so hard to lay. Builders inspire, destroyers distract. Builders help you rise, destroyers pull you back. The company you keep determines how far you go and how strong you become. If you want your rebuild to last, you must surround yourself with people who are stacking bricks alongside you, not those trying to knock them over when your back is turned. Excuses are the easiest bricks to stack, and they build walls that trap you in the same spot year after year. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. You blame the economy, your upbringing, the people who left you, or the opportunities you didn't get, and each excuse feels justified in the moment. But what you don't realize is that excuses don't protect you. They imprison you. Every time you choose an excuse, you trade progress for comfort. The problem with excuses is that they sound so reasonable. I'm too tired. I don't have enough money. The timing isn't right. These statements feel true, but they are often masks for fear, laziness, or lack of belief. Excuses let you off the hook in the short term, but chain you to regret in the long term. And regret is far heavier than discipline will ever be. The more excuses you feed, the more powerless you become. Breaking the cycle means confronting the lies you have been telling yourself. You don't need perfect conditions to start rebuilding. You need courage. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. You don't need more time. You need to use the time you already have. Excuses create illusions of impossibility, but the truth is you already have enough to take the first step. Think about it. Every time you give into an excuse, the ruins around you stay the same. Your situation doesn't change because words don't build. Actions do. You can sit for years explaining why you are stuck, but until you pick up the tools and get moving, the ruins remain. Excuses keep you busy talking about what could be while stealing the energy you need to make it happen. Breaking the cycle isn't easy because excuses are addictive. They give you comfort without accountability. They let you feel justified while staying stagnant. But if you truly want to rebuild, you have got to get uncomfortable. You have got to face the raw truth that most of the reasons you have been stuck are choices, not curses. And once you take responsibility, you take back your power. Accountability is the sledgehammer that destroys excuses. When you stop blaming and start owning your situation, you release yourself from the prison walls you built. That doesn't mean your circumstances instantly change, but it means you finally have the freedom to do something about them. Accountability turns I can't into I will. It turns someday into today. Excuses are the enemy of rebuilding because they keep you tied to the ruins of the past. If you want a new life, you have got to break the cycle. You have got to call yourself out, challenge your own thinking, and take action even when it's uncomfortable. The day you stop making excuses is the day you truly begin stacking the bricks that will create the life you have been dreaming about. When you look at the ruins of your life, it can feel overwhelming. You see everything that's broken, everything that's missing, everything that's been lost, and you wonder how you will ever rebuild from that place. But rebuilding isn't about fixing everything in one day. It's about focusing on the next step, the next move, the next brick. The house isn't built in a night, it's built brick by brick, piece by piece, decision by decision. Too often people get stuck because they are staring at the whole mountain instead of taking the first step up the path. They want the finished house, the final picture, the complete success without going through the process of laying down the foundation. And when the big picture looks impossible, they freeze. That's why you have to train your mind to shrink the vision into daily action. You don't build the future all at once. You build today, and today builds tomorrow. Taking one brick at a time means celebrating progress, even if it looks small. It means being proud of yourself for showing up, for staying disciplined, for doing the little things that most people overlook. Every workout you finish, every dollar you save, every prayer you whisper, every risk you take, that's a brick. Those bricks look small when you hold them, but stacked over time, they become walls that hold your future together. There's power in patience. Too many people quit because they don't see results fast enough. They want the wall built after 3 bricks, and when it's not, they think it's not working. But the truth is, greatness is built in the unseen moments, the quiet hours, the hidden work. Nobody claps when you lay the first brick, but without that brick, the wall never stands. Progress is slow at first, but consistency compounds. Taking one brick at a time also keeps you from burning out. If you try to carry the whole load in one day, you will collapse under the weight of it. But if you carry what you can today and return tomorrow to carry more, eventually the heavy load becomes manageable. It's not about rushing. It's about enduring. It's not about speed. It's about consistency. What matters is that you keep building. And every time you place a brick, remind yourself why you are building. You are not just stacking stones. You are creating a life, a future, a testimony. You are building something your children can see, something your family can stand on, something your community can be inspired by. Every brick carries purpose, and that purpose is what gives you the strength to keep laying the next one. The ruins may look intimidating, but the truth is they are waiting on your discipline, your patience, your action. Don't despise the small beginnings, because those small steps are what create the big victories. Take one brick at a time and trust that if you keep showing up, one day you will look up and realize you have built something strong, something real, something worth all the effort you put in. One of the fastest ways to sabotage your own rebuild is by looking at someone else's life and wondering why you are not there yet. Social media makes it even worse. Now you scroll and see everyone else's highlight reel while your own life feels like a mess behind the scenes. But what you see online or even in passing is only the surface. Comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's finished product is a recipe for discouragement. Everyone's journey is different. The person you are comparing yourself to had a different starting point, different resources, different struggles, and different timing. You don't know the battles they faced, the failures they endured, or the nights they cried alone. Your rebuild isn't meant to mirror theirs. It's meant to be uniquely yours. Comparison steals your focus, your energy, and your peace. The problem with comparison is that it makes you forget your progress. You start looking at the distance between where you are and where they are instead of looking at how far you have come. Even small victories matter. Every brick you lay, every lesson you learn, every step forward is proof of growth. Comparing yourself to someone else blinds you to your own accomplishments and slows your momentum. Comparison also feeds impatience. You want what they have now without acknowledging the years of work behind it. You get frustrated because your timeline looks different and you start to question your worth, your effort, and your potential. But timelines are not universal. Just because your path isn't moving at the same pace doesn't mean it's failing. Trust your own timing and your own process. Your rebuild is a story, not a race. And every story unfolds differently. When you focus on someone else's narrative, you miss the power of your own. You have to celebrate your own small wins, your own lessons, and your own strength. Progress is progress, no matter how long it takes or what it looks like compared to others. Comparison also brings negativity into your mind. It invites doubt, envy, and frustration. These feelings are like termites eating away at the foundation of your rebuild. If you want your structure to be strong, you have to protect your thoughts. Guard them against the temptation to compare. Focus on your bricks, your foundation, and your vision, not on what everyone else is doing. Remember that your life is yours alone. The path you are walking, the bricks you are laying, and the challenges you are facing are unique to you. When you stop comparing, you stop distracting yourself from building. You stop wondering why you are not like them and start putting your energy into stacking your own bricks at your own pace in your own time toward a life that is real, strong, and yours. Discipline is the silent force that makes a rebuild possible. You can have all the dreams, all the plans, and all the vision in the world, but without discipline, those dreams remain nothing more than imagination. Discipline is what turns intentions into actions, what turns small steps into massive progress. It's the glue that holds all your efforts together when motivation fades, when excitement dwindles, and when life throws challenges your way. The truth is, discipline isn't glamorous. Nobody cheers for it. Nobody posts about it on social media, and it doesn't give you instant gratification. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's about showing up consistently, even when no one sees it, even when your hands are tired, and even when the world seems against you. That's the kind of effort that builds unshakable foundations. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. You might have talent, intelligence, and creativity, but without discipline, those gifts are wasted. Discipline keeps you accountable, keeps you focused, and keeps you moving forward when every fiber of your body wants to quit. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It also protects your rebuild from chaos. Life is unpredictable. People will let you down, circumstances will change, and obstacles will appear. Without discipline, it's easy to be swept away by every distraction or every setback. But when discipline is your foundation, you stay anchored. You keep stacking bricks, you keep laying foundations, and you keep building regardless of the storms around you. Discipline isn't about being harsh on yourself. It's about being committed to your future. It's about creating habits that reinforce your vision, making choices that honor your goals, and refusing to allow laziness or fear to dictate your actions. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They mastered the art of discipline and they used it to hold their dreams together, even when nothing else made sense. The power of discipline compounds over time. A single act of discipline may feel small, almost insignificant, but when repeated day after day, it builds momentum. That momentum is unstoppable. It's what turns broken habits into strong habits, weak foundations into solid structures, and ruined days into meaningful progress. Every brick you place is secured by the discipline that holds it, ensuring that your rebuild lasts. Discipline is the unseen hero of your journey. It's the reason your bricks don't crumble, the reason your foundation stays strong, and the reason your vision becomes reality. Without it, even the best plans fall apart. But with it, even the smallest efforts turn into monumental achievements because discipline is the cement that binds everything together, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. Rebuilding yourself requires more than just effort. It requires change. And real change starts with your habits. The habits that got you into the ruins you are in now will never get you out. You can pray, you can dream, you can wish, but if you continue to live like you always have, you will continue to get the same results. Transformation demands that you examine every habit and ask yourself if it aligns with the life you are trying to build. Old habits are comfortable even if they are destructive. They are familiar. They lull you into a false sense of security while quietly keeping you stuck. You know the ones: procrastination, negative self-talk, mindless scrolling, people-pleasing, and avoiding responsibility. They feel safe because they are predictable, but safety isn't the goal. Growth never comes from comfort. If you want to rebuild, you have to be willing to step out of That's familiar. Replacing old habits isn't about willpower alone. It's about creating standards that are higher than your previous behaviors. Standards are rules you live by, values you refuse to compromise, and boundaries that protect your progress. When your standards change, your habits naturally follow. You don't have to fight temptation constantly. You simply choose not to lower your standards. That's how transformation becomes sustainable. It starts with small wins. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Pick one habit, one standard, and commit to it fully. Maybe it's waking up early. Maybe it's reading every day. Maybe it's cutting off toxic influences. Whatever it is, commit to it so fiercely that it becomes part of who you are. Then layer another and another until your life is being rebuilt, habit by habit, standard by standard. Replacing habits also requires self-awareness. You must be honest about the patterns that have held you back. Stop pretending that mindless scrolling, unhealthy choices, or negative thoughts aren't affecting your progress. Once you see them for what they are, you can intentionally replace them with actions that serve your vision. Awareness is the first step, action is the second, and transformation follows naturally. Consistency is the glue that turns new habits into a rebuilt life. You will slip, you will stumble, and you will face old patterns trying to pull you back in. But each time you get up and recommit, you reinforce your new standard. Every time you choose your new way over the old, you are laying another brick in the foundation of the person you are becoming. Replacing old habits with new standards isn't just about avoiding the past. It's about stepping into your future. It's about setting expectations for yourself that match your dreams. It's about refusing to allow yesterday's patterns to dictate tomorrow's reality. When you live by new standards, your rebuild is not only possible, it's inevitable, because every action now becomes a declaration of who you are becoming. Scars are proof that you survived. They are evidence that life tried to break you, that circumstances pushed you to your limits, and that you endured even when it seemed impossible. Yet so many people feel ashamed of their scars. They hide them, they cover them, they pretend they don't exist. But hiding your scars is like hiding the map that shows exactly where you have been and how far you have come. Every scar carries a lesson. The heartbreak you have endured teaches you how to love better and set boundaries. The failures you have faced teach you resilience and strategy. The mistakes you have made teach you wisdom and humility. Scars are not imperfections. They are signposts showing you what you have learned and how you have grown. The people who refuse to acknowledge their scars miss out on the power they hold. Showing your scars doesn't make you weak. It makes you relatable. It reminds others that life isn't perfect and that everyone has battles they have fought. When you hide your struggles, you isolate yourself. But when you own your scars, you inspire. You become a living testimony that survival is possible, that rebuilding is possible, and that strength is forged through adversity. Many try to mask their pain to fit in, to look successful, or to impress others. But that mask creates distance between you and your authentic self. The moment you embrace your scars, you stop performing for approval and start living in truth. Your scars are part of your story. And when you accept them openly, you begin to reclaim the narrative that life tried to write for you Scars also teach empathy. When you have been through storms, you develop the ability to see and understand struggles in others. You can encourage, guide, and uplift in ways that only someone who has been broken and rebuilt can. Those who hide their scars rob the world of that wisdom, and they rob themselves of the chance to connect deeply with others who need to hear, I know I've been there and you can rise too. Hiding your scars delays healing. Pretending they don't exist keeps you in denial about the experiences that shaped you. True rebuilding comes when you confront every wound, every failure, every pain, and allow it to be a teacher and a motivator. Scars remind you where you have been, but they don't define where you are going unless you let fear of judgment dictate your actions. Owning your scars is about power, authenticity, and growth. It's about saying, yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I've fallen, but I am still standing, still building, rising. Your scars are not shameful. They are part of your foundation. They are evidence that your rebuild is real, that it's earned, and that nothing, not pain, not loss, not failure, can stop the life you are determined to create. Your mindset is the engine of your rebuild. You can have resources, skills, and opportunities, but if your mind isn't aligned with growth, all that potential goes to waste. The truth is that your thoughts dictate your actions, and your actions shape your reality. Investing in your mindset every single day is non-negotiable if you want to rebuild a life that lasts. A strong mindset doesn't come automatically. It's cultivated. It's developed by the books you read, the people you listen to, the habits you practice, and the daily decisions you make about what you allow into your mind. Just like physical muscles, your mental strength grows with consistent exercise. If you skip training, your mind stays weak, vulnerable, and unprepared for challenges. Your mind will try to keep you small. It will replay old fears, doubts, and failures. It will convince you that you can't, that you are not enough, that success is for someone else. That's why daily investment is critical. Feed your mind with encouragement, discipline, knowledge, and vision. Feed it with strategies and stories of perseverance. Feed it with reminders that you are capable, that you are resilient, and that you are meant for more. Investing in your mindset daily also means being mindful of what you consume. The wrong influences, toxic people, negative media, destructive habits can undo weeks of mental work in a single day. You have to be intentional about what enters your head. Guard your mind like you would your most valuable possession, because it is, in fact, the foundation upon which your rebuild depends. Daily mindset work is about repetition and consistency. It's not enough to read one book, watch one motivational video, or attend one seminar. You have to show up for your mind every day. Affirmations, reflection, visualization, and journaling are small investments that compound over time. Each day you strengthen your mind, you are adding a brick to the foundation of your rebuilt life. Your mindset also influences your response to failure. Without it, every setback feels like a permanent defeat. But with a strong mindset, failure becomes feedback, adversity becomes training, and setbacks become setups for comebacks. The way you think about challenges determines whether you crumble under pressure or rise higher than before. That's why daily investment isn't optional. It's essential. Investing in your mindset is an act of self-respect and self-determination. It's telling yourself that you are worth the effort, that your future is worth the discipline, and that you refuse to be controlled by old patterns or negative thoughts. Each day you feed your mind, you build resilience, clarity, and vision, all of which become unstoppable forces in your journey to rebuild yourself. Rebuilding yourself is not a crowded journey. Most people will cheer at the finish line, but very few are willing to walk with you through the trenches. The truth is, you will often feel alone while you are doing the hardest work. And that loneliness can be uncomfortable, even painful. But instead of resisting it, you have to embrace it, because it's in those solitary moments that real growth happens. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's a sign that you are taking your rebuild seriously. When you choose the hard path, discipline over comfort, focus over distraction, progress over approval, you naturally separate yourself from people who aren't willing to do the same. That's okay. The loneliness is temporary, but the strength you gain from leaning into it lasts a lifetime. During this process, you will notice who really matters. Some friends drift away because they don't understand your vision or they can't handle your transformation. Family may question your choices or doubt your path. And that's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of your commitment. Loneliness in this phase is proof that you are doing the work necessary to elevate your life above old patterns. Embracing loneliness also teaches resilience. When you learn to stand on your own, make decisions for yourself, and rely on your own strength, you become unshakable. You stop needing constant validation, and you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems. Solitude allows you to understand your own mind, your own goals, and your own capabilities in a way that noisy surroundings never could. The quiet moments are when you plan, reflect, and strategize. When no one else is around to distract you, you can look at your life honestly, evaluate your habits, and make adjustments. Loneliness sharpens your focus. It allows you to take stock of what truly matters, separating the noise from the essentials. And every decision you make in these solitary hours is a brick in the foundation of the life you are rebuilding. The process may feel isolating, but it's also empowering. When you embrace being alone, you reclaim your independence. You stop asking for permission and start taking responsibility. You stop waiting for someone else's approval and start trusting your own judgment. That independence fuels momentum because your rebuild becomes about you, not about anyone else's expectations, opinions, or timelines. Embracing the loneliness of the process means finding comfort in your own company, understanding that solitude is temporary, and knowing that this stage is building your strength. It's where the roots of your resilience grow deep enough to support the life you are creating. The people, recognition, and validation will come later, but the foundation you lay in these quiet, lonely moments is what ensures that your rebuild is permanent, powerful, and unshakable. Failure is not the enemy of rebuilding. It's a necessary part of the process. Every mistake, every setback, every disappointment is a chance to learn, adjust, and move forward stronger than before. The key is not to avoid failure, but to fail forward. That means each misstep should be used as fuel, not as an excuse to quit. Every failure carries the blueprint for your next success if you are willing to see it. Failing forward requires a shift in mindset. Most people see failure as the end of the road, but it's really just a detour. The detour may be uncomfortable, frustrating, and even painful, but it doesn't mean the journey stops. When you embrace failure as a teacher rather than a judge, you begin to see setbacks as opportunities. You stop fearing mistakes and start valuing the lessons they bring. The truth is, failure is inevitable when you are rebuilding. If you are stretching yourself, taking risks, and leaving your comfort zone, you will fail. And that's exactly what you want. Staying safe keeps you stagnant. Progress requires risk, and risk requires the possibility of failure. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is how they respond to failure. Fail forward by analyzing what went wrong without judgment. Be honest with yourself about the choices that led to the setback. Don't blame circumstances, people, or luck. Take ownership. Ownership turns defeat into insight, and insight turns insight into action. Every failure becomes a stepping stone because you have learned what works, what doesn't, and what to do differently next time. It also requires resilience. Failing forward means getting back up immediately after being knocked down. It means refusing to let a single mistake define you or derail your rebuild. Life will challenge you repeatedly, and each time you rise, you reinforce your strength, determination, and belief in yourself. The momentum comes not from perfection, but from persistence. Failing forward teaches patience. Progress is rarely linear. There will be days when it feels like you are moving backwards, weeks when nothing seems to work, and months when the results are invisible. But every failure is part of the cumulative process. The bricks you lay today may not show the wall tomorrow, but they are essential for the structure. Read that will eventually rise. Fail forward while you rebuild, and failure becomes a powerful ally instead of a fearsome enemy. Each misstep, each stumble, each fall is a lesson disguised as adversity. The more you embrace it, the faster you grow, the stronger you become, and the more unstoppable your rebuild turns into. Rebuilding your life is hard work, and every brick you lay represents effort, sacrifice, and vision. But here's the truth. Just as you build, there are forces, people, habits, distractions, doubts that will try to tear it all down. Protecting what you are building is not optional. It's essential. If you don't guard your progress, all the hard work can be undone in an instant. Protection begins with boundaries. You have to be clear about who and what you allow into your life. Not everyone deserves access to your journey, your energy, or your time. Toxic people, negative influences, and opportunists can erode even the strongest foundation if you let them. Saying no is not selfish. It's strategic. It's a necessary part of safeguarding your rebuild. Your thoughts also need protection. The mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Self-doubt, fear, and negative self-talk are destroyers in disguise. You must recognize these thoughts when they creep in and replace them with affirmations of your strength, focus, and vision. The internal battle is just as critical as the external one, and winning it is what keeps your foundation intact. Protecting what you are building means staying disciplined. Every day, you make choices that either strengthen your foundation or weaken it. Skipping habits, giving into temptations, or ignoring your priorities chips away at the structure. Discipline is a shield. It ensures that your bricks remain solid, that the walls you have constructed don't crumble, and that every effort you put in continues to add value. It also requires vigilance. Watch the people and situations